Prince was just 21. Tall, slender, and strikingly good-looking, he carried the sort of charm that made girls smile even before he spoke. On campus, he wasn't the smartest, nor the wealthiest, but he had a gift for words and a strong appetite for luxury. He craved the kind of lifestyle most boys his age only fantasized about: designer outfits, the latest phone in his pocket, enough cash to flaunt, and the respect that came when everyone called you chairman. Then, along came Mrs. Belinda. At 44, she had known wealth, handled it, and lived surrounded by it. She owned businesses, drove sleek cars, and resided in a grand mansion in East Lynne. She was stunning, graceful, always immaculately dressed, and carried the poise of a woman who knew every space belonged to her the moment she walked in. Though older, she had something younger women lacked: power, authority, and the confidence of success. When Prince crossed paths with her, it wasn't just chemistry. It was opportunity. To Belinda, he was young, attractive, full of vigor, the exact cure for her lonely nights. To Prince, she was nothing short of a golden ticket. And without hesitation, she opened her world to him. It wasn't just pocket change she gave. She cleared his tuition in advance. She bought him a car. She secured him a fully furnished apartment off campus, far better than the cramped hostels his friends were stuck in. Clothes, sneakers, perfumes, watches, she spoiled him endlessly. She handed him a reality he never dreamed possible at 21. But her love wasn't just affection. It was a calculated investment. She told him directly, "Prince, I'm giving you all this because you belong to me. After school, you'll marry me. You won't chase other women. I'm the one financing your life." Prince only smiled and nodded. Of course, he agreed. Why wouldn't he? She was practically laying treasures at his feet. He gave her promises of a future, swearing he'd marry her once he graduated. But deep inside, he had no intention of keeping that word. To him, Belinda was simply a sponsor, a bank fueling his rise. He believed he was clever enough to play along, take everything, and walk away when it suited him. And so, the deal was sealed. The once broke boy who used to beg friends for money was now the one spraying cash at campus parties. His peers looked on with envy each time he drove his car into school. Girls gathered around him, calling him chairman. He was living like royalty, and it was all thanks to Belinda. But here's the twist. While Prince thought he was running the show, Belinda believed she was the true puppet master. In her world, money equaled power. And since she was the one bankrolling every part of his life, she believed she owned him. She reminded him constantly, "Don't embarrass me. Don't even think of dating anyone else. I'm the reason you're living like this." Every time, Prince would grin, kiss her hand, and say, "Never, baby. You're the only one." That was the beginning of a dangerous game. One fueled by lies, control, greed, and obsession. At first, Prince played his role well. He answered her calls immediately. He rushed over whenever she wanted to see him. He whispered sweet words, played the devoted lover, and she believed him. She truly thought she had him under her grip. But deep inside, Prince was restless. He was only 21, youthful, charming, and buzzing with energy. Girls on campus noticed his flashy lifestyle. They saw the car, the sneakers, the designer shirts, the way he rained money at parties. Suddenly, Prince wasn't just another boy, he was the fantasy. And he relished every moment of it. He told himself, "How can I enjoy all this money without enjoying the women too?" He knew Belinda's warning, "Don't see anyone else." But he didn't care. He was convinced he was too sharp to get caught. Even if she did find out, he thought he could simply sweet-talk her, apologize, and she'd forgive him. After all, hadn't she invested far too much in him to let him go? So, Prince began living a double life. By day, he was the obedient lover of his sugar mummy, smiling, agreeing, pretending loyalty. By night, he became the campus ladies' king, sneaking into hostels, spoiling girls with money that wasn't even his, taking them out, showering them with gifts. He was careful. He never posted the girls online. He never let Belinda catch sight of anything suspicious on his phone when she was around. To his friends, he would laugh and boast, "I'm enjoying both sides. I get money and sex from my sugar mummy, and I still have the campus girls." For months, he thought he had mastered the game. But secrets never stay hidden forever. One of the girls he was seeing, a light-skinned beauty in her second year, couldn't resist showing him off. To her, Prince wasn't just any guy. He was the chairman with a car, the one everyone envied. She wanted the world to know he was hers. One evening, she posted a picture of them together on Instagram. At first, Prince didn't notice. But Belinda did. Scrolling through her phone late one night, she stumbled upon the post. Her eyes narrowed. There he was, the boy she had clothed, fed, sponsored, and envisioned a future with, smiling beside another girl. Her chest tightened. She didn't scream. She didn't shed a tear. She just stared at the screen. Calm on the outside, but her mind spinning rapidly. In that silence, something inside her shifted. She didn't confront him immediately. She didn't fire off angry messages. No. She simply smiled to herself and whispered, "So, this is how you want to play me? Okay." From that night forward, Belinda began to plan. Belinda's heart boiled with rage, but her face betrayed nothing. She didn't fight him. She didn't even mention the other girl. Instead, she kept up her role as the affectionate lover, sending him money, calling to check on him, smiling sweetly as though nothing had changed. Prince, naive, relaxed. He believed all was well. He had no clue that a storm was already brewing, one he could never escape. Then came a Friday evening. Belinda called, her voice softer than usual, almost musical. "Baby, come over tomorrow. I've got some money for you. Didn't you say you needed cash for exams? I'll give it to you." Prince's eyes gleamed. For him, money was always the perfect excuse to show up. Without hesitation, he said, "Of course, baby. I'll come. You know you're the only one for me." The next afternoon, he drove to her mansion. The compound was unusually quiet, the air heavy with stillness. Belinda welcomed him warmly, smiling as though everything was perfectly normal. She poured him his favorite drink, chilled to perfection, and handed it over. Without a second thought, Prince drank. Minutes later, his vision blurred. His head sank. His limbs felt weak, like gravity was pulling him down. He tried to speak, but his tongue refused to move. His last sight before everything faded was Belinda's calm face, watching him steadily, no panic, no worry, just icy control. When Prince awoke, nothing was the same. He was lying on a narrow bed in a dim, unfamiliar room. His wrists and ankles were tied tight. The walls were bare, the windows sealed shut. This wasn't a bedroom, it was a cage. Fear surged through him. He tugged at the ropes, but they refused to give. He shouted until his voice cracked. No answer came. Then, slowly, the door creaked open. Belinda entered, dressed in a silk robe, her face serene but her eyes sharp as blades. She stood at the doorway, watching him struggle. "Prince," she said softly, almost soothingly, "after everything I've done for you, do you really think I'll let you use me? My money, my body, my love, and just walk away? Never." Prince froze, his chest heaving. "Belinda, please, it's not what you think." "Shut up," she snapped, her voice cutting like steel. The elegance was gone, replaced with cold fury. "Do you take me for a fool? I built myself from nothing. I made wealth because I was smart, because I could see through liars and cheats. But with you, I allowed myself to fall in love. That was my only mistake." Her heels clicked as she stepped closer, her tone sinking lower. If I can't have you, then no one will. You're mine now. You'll stay here with me, where I can watch you, where you'll never betray me again. Prince's pulse hammered in his chest. He begged, cried, pulled at the ropes until his skin burned. But Belinda only smiled, slow, terrifying, before whispering, "In time, you'll see. This is what's best for us." Then she locked the door, leaving him swallowed in darkness. Days blurred into nights, and nights back into days. Prince lost all sense of time. His wrists and ankles were raw from the ropes. The silence was unbearable, broken only by the faint sounds outside, a creak, a horn, footsteps, that made him hope someone was coming to save him. But it was always her. Belinda. She entered the room dressed immaculately, smelling of rich perfumes, carrying trays of food. She would untie his hands just long enough for him to eat, then bind him again once he finished. Sometimes she scolded, sometimes she smiled, but always she remained in command. "You see, Prince," she would murmur as she tightened the ropes, "this is better for us. Out there, you're tempted. Out there, you lie and cheat. But here, you belong to me, only me." Prince sobbed, his voice hoarse, his eyes swollen. "Please, Belinda, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'll never do it again. Please let me go. I swear I'll be faithful." But she would only laugh gently, shaking her head. "Do you think I'll fall for those sweet words again? I gave you everything, money, comfort, love. Do you think I'll let you throw that away? Never. If I can't have you, no one can." And the worst wasn't the food, or the ropes, or the suffocating silence. The worst was the nights when Belinda wanted him. Sometimes she appeared in the room after midnight, holding a small spray bottle. She whispered, "Don't fight, baby," before releasing the mist into his face. The chemical made him dizzy, weak, helpless. As his body went limp, she used him, taking what she desired while he drifted in and out of consciousness. When he awoke, his body was sore, heavy, violated. Tears soaked the pillow as he wished desperately to disappear. Weeks dragged on. On campus, his absence became impossible to ignore. Friends grew uneasy. They called his phone repeatedly, no answer. They checked his apartment, locked and empty. Soon, whispers spread everywhere. "Where is Prince? Has anyone seen him?" Finally, his closest friends turned to the police. The investigation began. Prince's disappearance quickly turned into the hottest topic on campus. Some assumed he had traveled. Others whispered that maybe he had gotten mixed up with the wrong crowd and something terrible had happened. But his closest friends knew, something was deeply wrong. They filed a missing persons report. The police stepped in immediately, combing through details of his life. Who had he last been seen with? Where did he usually go? Who was paying for his flashy lifestyle? It didn't take long for a clear picture to form. Everyone knew Prince had a sugar mummy. At first, when the police asked, people laughed. Some even joked, "If you're looking for Prince, try that woman's house." But the laughter faded as the days dragged on and he was still nowhere to be found. Officers went to Belinda's mansion. She welcomed them with grace, her usual calm smile in place. When they asked if she had seen Prince, she shook her head smoothly. "It's been weeks. I thought he was busy with school." "You know how these young boys are," she said, almost convincing in her poise. The officers searched the house casually. Everything looked spotless, perfectly arranged. There was nothing unusual. They left with empty hands. But the investigation didn't stop. Weeks stretched into months. Prince's parents broke down on radio shows, begging for any information about their son. His face appeared on posters plastered across the city. Students marched in protest, demanding answers. The pressure on the police grew unbearable. Then, finally, a breakthrough. A neighbor's CCTV footage surfaced. Though grainy, it was clear enough. It showed Prince driving into Belinda's compound the very day he was last seen. But there was no footage of him ever leaving. That was all the police needed. This time, they arrived not with questions but with a warrant. Belinda tried to maintain her calm facade, but her hands trembled as officers spread through her mansion. They opened closets, shifted furniture, searched the garage, the garden, even the kitchen. Hours passed with nothing to show. Doubt began to creep in among the officers. Maybe he had slipped out another way, maybe she was innocent after all. But one officer refused to give up. He tapped along the walls, listening carefully. Then his hand struck a section that sounded hollow. Suspicion grew. They banged harder. The echo confirmed it, a hidden wall. A few more strikes, and a concealed door gave way. Behind it lay a secret room. And there, bound to a bed, frail and trembling, was Prince. The room fell silent. Officers froze, stunned by the sight before them. Prince's eyes welled up. His lips quivered as he whispered, barely audible, "Help me." Belinda stood at the doorway, her mask finally shattered. Her face drained of color as officers rushed in, freeing Prince and dragging her away in handcuffs. That was the end of her control. News of Prince's rescue spread like wildfire. Videos taken on officers' phones leaked online. People saw him, skinny, weak, pale, a shadow of the once flamboyant chairman they knew on campus. And right behind him, handcuffed, was Belinda, the once elegant, powerful woman now disgraced in her own compound. Neighbors whispered, cameras flashed, journalists shouted questions. "Madam, why did you do it? Is it true you kept him locked up for months?" Belinda said nothing. Her head hung low, her robe dragging along the floor. By evening, her name was everywhere: television, radio, blogs, social media. Businesswoman arrested for locking up campus boyfriend. The scandal was too big to ignore. In court, Belinda faced charges of kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, and sexual assault. Her lawyers fought hard, but the evidence was overwhelming. The verdict was clear: she was sentenced to years behind bars. For Prince, however, freedom didn't feel like freedom anymore. He never returned to campus. He couldn't bear the stares, the whispers, the questions. His car, his apartment, his expensive clothes, all of it reminded him of how easily he had been bought and trapped. His friends noticed he wasn't the same. The cheerful, lively boy they knew had vanished. He no longer laughed the way he used to. He didn't flirt, didn't chase women. In fact, he avoided them altogether. At night, he woke drenched in sweat, haunted by Belinda's voice echoing in his mind. He would check his locks again and again, terrified of being caged once more. The trauma followed him everywhere. The boy who once strutted like a king now lived in constant fear. His body was free, but in his head, he was still tied up in that room. The lesson is simple: love rooted in money and control is not love, it is bondage. Prince's greed blinded him. Belinda's obsession consumed her. In the end, both of them paid the price. The truth is harsh but clear: when you try to own another person with wealth, and when you sell yourself for comfort, both sides end up enslaved. One bound by desire, the other by fear. Real love is freedom. Anything else is just another kind of prison. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful tales. Share your thoughts in the comments below, we'd love to hear what lesson you took from this. And remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Thank you.